Here we go again. They always gotta find something wrong with what he did.
We're only here at this moment, this very dangerous moment, because of Donald Trump's impulses.
Impulses? What you talking about, impulses? You see the way that boy came in today? That boy came in looking like some old Katsuki shit. While he up there looking fresh and everything, trying to tell everybody that we all right on the internet and fake news, they already talking about World War III.
We're at the early stages of a hot war. It is a monumental moment.
As long as I'm president of the United States, Iran will never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon.
And we tired of y'all trying to run up on our sets, so don't be trying to kill our American soldiers. People over there overseas trying to do their job.
Pleased to inform you, the American people should be extremely grateful and happy.
Launched ballistic missiles in the direction of American air bases in Iraq, where U.S. troops are stationed.
And we was ready for their ass, right?
Civilians were harmed in last night's attack by the Iranian regime.
The Iranians, I guess, don't know about sonar and all that, so I guess instead of wondering it coming out of nowhere, they straight up was ready for that shit by 9 o'clock. Like, hey, bro, wrap it up, bro. We got to go inside because Iran from the send some missiles overnight.
Iran says it is retaliating for the targeted killing of General Qasem Soleimani last Friday by a U.S. drone strike.
Retaliating? Where they retaliating at? Hold on, where they retaliating at? Let me see what they talking about. Where they at? Where they at? Come on, come on, come on! Wait a minute, I don't see nothing. No, I don't see no shots. What they talking about? They're making noise like dumpster cherry bombs, but that's about it. Come on, come on, come on! I'm looking at the video, but all I see is dark and just noise. That's it.
We suffered no casualties. All of our soldiers are safe, and only minimal damage was sustained.
But I looked at the news today, they made it seem like there was a whole bunch of shit going down that night. What are they talking about?
This bit I'm not sure about, but Iran state media is claiming that 30 U.S. soldiers have been killed in this attack. Now, this is not confirmed. This is just coming from Iranian media, but we have just stepped over the precipice.
That's the news I was watching? Iranian fake news? I mean, the man looks so serious. Iranian fake news now? Damn, everybody got fake news going on, ain't it?
Meanwhile, NBC invited its viewers to watch live coverage of Soleimani's burial. I hear Michael Moore lowered his belly at half-mast.
And then I was looking at the news today, they were saying something about Russia still. They still on that too.
It would be hard to believe that Donald Trump would launch attacks into Iran without speaking first of Vladimir Putin.
We gotta hear about Putin again. Oh my God, Putin over there chilling with the freaking military doing drills in the ocean. Bro, I ain't know nothing about this. What you talking about?
This could have been a massive catastrophe of proportions that we just can't fully appreciate. And so this was a dangerous night at the casino for President Trump.
Standing before hundreds of thousands, the commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guard promised vengeance.
I say to our enemies, we will take revenge.
I guess giving us our own 4th of July show was revenge. Maybe that's what it is. They got independence from Soleimani. They got independence from Soleimani, so what they did was they revenged by giving us a fireworks show.
A day in Iran meant for mourning a military commander.
Terrorists.
Will now lead to the mourning of many more. The stampede came during the funeral procession of Major General Qasem Soleimani through his hometown.
Damn, buddy was so bad. When they tried to go see him off to heaven, other people joined him too.
You got to be the stupidest motherfucker to get fired on the funeral.
You gotta be the stupidest motherfucker that died at a funeral.
Thank you for the insight.
No offense to anybody that's ever died at a funeral.
You gotta do that one again.
Just saying.
All that remained was a pile of shoes.
Hey Tyler, you notice ain't got no Jordans in there.
The New York Times reported that Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, wants retaliation to be a, quote, direct and proportional attack on American interests and openly carried out by Iranian forces.
I guess it was in America's interest. You heard Donald Trump say, don't kill no civilians, don't kill no Americans. Very interesting.
But if they take another step in response, we will set fire to the places they love. And they know where these places are.
Just leave the dispensaries alone. That's all I gotta say. Leave the dispensaries alone. We don't want that to burn down. That and the comic book shops. Don't burn them down.
It depends on the comic books y'all got.
We need to take a vote on what should get burned down and what should not. Like the abortion clinics. They should get burned down.
Iran's parliament today voted to designate the Pentagon and U.S. Army terrorist organizations.
Iran's hostilities substantially increased after the foolish Iran nuclear deal was signed in 2013. And they were given $150 billion, not to mention $1.8 billion in cash.
That sounds like a lot of money, dog. First he said one amount, and then he said another amount. What they did with all that money?
Instead of saying thank you to the United States, they chanted death to America. In fact, they chanted death to America the day the agreement was signed.
What? I'm gonna give you some money. All right, cuz I'm gonna kill you.
You kind of getting punked.
This was horrible. He was a terrorist. He was so designated by President Obama.
Oh, it makes sense now. Oh, bummer.
As you know. And he wasn't even supposed to be outside of his own country. He was. So right there. The missiles fired last night at us and our allies were paid for with the funds made available by the last administration.
You know what I'm talking about? I told you. Oh, bummer. I swear.
Those days are over.
That's because they ain't got no pussy in the White House no more.
He should have been terminated long ago.
Everybody in their baby mom was too busy saying, Obama, Obama. Why he giving all your tax money to Iran or Iran?
The regime also greatly tightened the reins on their own country, even recently killing 1,500 people at the many protests that are taking place all throughout Iran.
See, they kill people at their protests. Let me see Antifa go over there. Stop them from throwing them people off them roofs and shit. Let me go see them. They kill the protesters over there. Glad you're in America now, huh?
We have sent a powerful message to terrorists. If you value your own life, you will not threaten the lives of our people.
This is a really very grave and serious moment.
Damn right. You mess with one of ours, I remember back in the day, all the homies come outside. That's a very serious situation.
The very defective JCPOA expires shortly anyway.
That shit's expiring anyway. Fuck all that. I'm trying to business.
Yesterday, the U.S. military said it mistakenly sent a draft letter to the Iraqi government suggesting the U.S. was withdrawing troops from Iraq.
Oh, wait, I think that might have been from Obama's administration. Nancy Pelosi, she might have sent that. But she probably thought that Trump wasn't going to do nothing about it. Too late.
It was an unsigned letter, so I could maybe let Mike speak to it. I don't know if that letter was a hoax or was it unsigned or
I think
what.
the Department of Defense has spoken that it was a mistake. It wasn't intended.
But the Iraqi government is saying they're taking you at your word and they expect U.S. forces to leave.
Well, I think it's the worst thing that can happen to Iraq. If we leave, that would mean that Iran would have a much bigger foothold, and the people of Iraq do not want to see Iran running the country. That I can tell you. So,
but now you got Iranians coming on TV talking about something. Oh, America discriminates against its black people. We're not bad. We're not bad.
But we will respond proportionately, not disproportionately, because we are committed to law. We are law-abiding people. We're not lawless like President Trump.
And we are, according to various laws, supposed to be very careful with their cultural heritage. And you know what? If that's what the law is, I like to obey the law.
They talking about laws, but terrorism, I don't remember that being legal ever.
The American military has been completely rebuilt under my administration at a cost of $2.5 trillion.
Damn, that shit sound banging, boy. Let them tell you over there in Iran. They make it seem like our military ain't shit.
And the United States believes that this beautiful military equipment, according to President Trump, that you spend $2 trillion on these beautiful military equipment. Beautiful military equipment don't rule the world. People rule the world.
You see how he keep on saying beautiful? Only thing he talk about that's beautiful is military equipment. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful military equipment. Beautiful.
Construction are many hypersonic missiles.
That's what they spend all that money on, that beautiful military equipment.
The fact that we have this great military and equipment, however, does not mean we have to use it.
It just means you better watch out, boy. Soleimani got that shit toasted. Space Force.
We do not want to use it.
Damn, you see how his voice broke? We do not want to use this shit.
The United States has to wake up to the reality that the people of this region are enraged, that the people of this region want the United States out, and the United States cannot stay in this region with the people of the region not wanting it anymore.
That sounds familiar. I remember when 9/11 happened. Same thing.
We'll see how it all works out. I know it's going to work out well for us because at some point we want to be able to get out. We want to bring our soldiers back home.
Yeah, man, that is actually the point. Trying to get out. Every time they try to get out, though, they're trying to plan some shit. Stop planning shit. Democrat?
You have said that Iran will retaliate for the targeted killing of General Qasem Soleimani. President Trump has said there would be a disproportionate response if you do that. What do you make of President Trump's threat?
How do you retaliate against a retaliation?
I guess proportionately.
I will say this. If Iran does anything that they shouldn't be doing, they're going to be suffering the consequences, and very strong.
It is Congress that has the responsibility for making war, not the President of the United States.
Since when? I mean, the last time I checked, Commander-in-Chief meant one person.
These kinds of world-changing and historic calamity.
Yeah, they sound like they've been watching that Iran TV, the Iranian news TV.
But he's showing something. He's showing to the international community that he has no respect for international law, that he is prepared to commit war crimes because attacking cultural sites is a war crime.
That sounds like, oh man, we can fight, but don't go for the nuts. It's a crime. Killing U.S. soldiers, that's an even bigger crime.
They're allowed to kill our people. They're allowed to maim our people. They're allowed to blow up everything that we have, and there's nothing that stops them. And we are, according to various laws, supposed to be very careful with their cultural heritage. And you know what? If that's what the law is, I like to obey the law. But think of it. They kill our people. They blow up our people. And then we have to be very gentle with their cultural institutions. But I'm okay with it. It's okay with me.
That sound like that should always be happening with, no, it's not fair. You sound like a bigot. But they can't really explain that they're the bigot. Because they're acting like the bigot. So now we can't hit none of that cultural shit, but they can hit our Twin Towers.
In this disproportionate response is a war crime.
It's funny that they never talk about how this man was doing all kind of war crimes himself, killing people, just straight up. People that's already surrendered and everything.
He was traveling with the head of Hezbollah. They weren't there to discuss a vacation. They weren't there to go to a nice resort someplace in Baghdad. They were there to discuss bad business.
They always try to make it seem like the man was there, some good face shit, like making peace. And they always got like these pretty pictures of him up on the internet. Have you ever Googled this man up? The man look like he's the most peacefulest man on earth. Man, if this man ever saw you, he'd put a bullet right between your eyes, man.
Because General Soleimani's mission was to contain the anger in Iraq following the United States murder of about 25 Iraqis.
Damn, I'm starting to feel sorry for them.
That's, in a way, the least of it. We had an attack very recently that he was in charge of where we had people horribly wounded, one dead. In fact, the number now, as of this morning, I believe is 2 dead. And that was his.
The government of Iraq has been on the record saying what he was doing. General Soleimani was the greatest force for stability in Iraq. He was the hero of the fight against Daesh, along with his companions, particularly Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis.
I wonder how much you got paid to say that. About how many Americans Salami killed?
He had tremendous information. We've been following him for a long time, and we followed his path for those 3 days. And they were not good stops. We didn't like where he was stopping. They were not good stops. We saved a lot of lives.
Followed him for 3 whole days.
They killed one of our most revered commanders and most senior commanders, and they took responsibility for it. This is state terrorism. This is an act of aggression against Iran, and it amounts to an armed attack against Iran, and we will respond.
This could have a very significant effect. We may be on a road to a very different Middle East come sunrise.
There's both of them, everybody getting their news from over there now. Damn.
I think it was in violation of international law. This guy was a bad news guy, but he was a ranking official.
Terrorist.
Of the Iranian government.
You mean to tell me it was bad that we killed him?
Well, don't forget, in our case, it was retaliation because they were there first. They killed, and look, I don't have to talk about him for 18 to 20 years.
Because he was killing Americans. Just keep remembering to say that. Stop forgetting that.
He was a monster.
But you know how it is with these liberals out here. They like to let these monsters live. And they like to see these unborn babies die.
Well, undoubtedly, General Soleimani was a very bad man that did a lot of damage both to the U.S. and to our allies in the region. But, you know, there's a lot of bad people everywhere throughout the world. And there's a reason why we don't go around shooting missiles at all of the bad people.
Terrorists? Yeah, that's usually how it is in a group fight. You don't try to swing on everybody. You just try to find the biggest one and knock his ass out. Everybody else fall back.
You know what? Once you get into violating international law in that sense, you can say there are a lot of bad people.
Terrorists?
All over the world running governments. Kim Jong-un in North Korea, not exactly a nice guy, responsible for the death perhaps of hundreds of thousands of people in his own country.
Wait a minute, they must have talked on the phone or something like that. Didn't he just say that? Damn, they must be talking to each other, sharing each other's fake news.
To name one of many. You know, the president of China now has put 1 million people, Muslims, into educational camps. Some would call them concentration camps.
I guess they must be talking about school.
Because there are consequences when we do that. So prior administrations, you know, they weighed the benefits versus the risks of killing General Soleimani.
Terrorists.
And other people like him. They've determined that the risks of doing so outweighed the benefit.
Yeah, because the last time we let somebody go, Bill Clinton, that boy took out 3,000 Americans on the worst day in American history, 9/11. Damn.
If Soleimani was a non-state actor, not a general, an official, a high-ranking official in the Iranian government, would it be different in your mind?
Hey, I'm not a lawyer on these things.
He was a bitch-ass nigga. That's like, he was a good pedophile. Or he was a good murderer. What the oh, man.
Over the last 3 years, under my leadership, our economy is stronger than ever before, and America has achieved energy independence.
So this is the problem with stupid smart people. The man told you, this is the plan. Y'all tried to think all around side of it, and all he did was press a button. Boop.
These historic accomplishments shades our strategic priorities. These are accomplishments that nobody thought were possible.
True. Yeah, because I remember even Obama was here like, what magic wand is he going to wave? Make the economy better. What magic wand? Magic wand, bitch.
What happened? The United States started a maximum pressure campaign.
He sounded like he got punched in the face and was like, what happened?
Terrorizing Iranian people. Making it difficult for Iranians to even get food and medicine from outside.
Yeah, he about to cry. You heard that shit, Tyler? Because we didn't need your oil no more. And because Barack Obama's not in office no more.
And options in the Middle East became available. We are now the #1 producer of oil and natural gas anywhere in the world.
I know that hurt their feelings. That's like a girl only using this thing for one thing, and all of a sudden, she don't need it no more.
So, a war started long time ago by the United States. The United States destroyed stability in this region.
That's because don't nobody want to do business over there. Look what y'all doing over there. Y'all crazy over there, throwing freaking people off of buildings and cutting necks off and shit.
We are independent, and we do not need Middle East oil.
I wish all these baby mamas would be like, I don't need welfare. I don't need child support. I don't need food stamps. I got a man.
The United States undermine security in this region. So one contractor.
By taking out one guy that was like trying to do something bad, if you would have did that, we probably would have went to war with y'all. Y'all definitely wouldn't have wanted that, would you?
The United States and the Trump administration are saying that before the strike on General Soleimani, there were provocations by Iran and forces controlled by Iran. There were bases that were rocketed. There was obviously an American contractor who was killed, and then there was the protests at the embassy, which destroyed the outside of the embassy and laid the embassy under siege.
You can tell he about to lie. He's talking about some word.
At least in the last month, 25 Iranian babies died because of EB and because of U.S. sanctions.
Just the babies? The boy said babies. Well, at least those babies was born, because over here we believe in killing them before they born.
He has killed people of this region.
This is exactly what many foreign policy and national security analysts feared here in Washington.
He has to realize that he has been fed misinformation.
And where has this false information come from? You know where it come from?
And he needs to wake up and apologize. He has to apologize. He has to change course. He is just making it worse for America.
No, I think you're making it worse because I'm laughing at you.
He is destroying the U.S. Constitution. He is destroying the U.S. political process. He is destroying the rule of law in the United States. But that's not for me to say.
I mean, how do you know all about our stuff like that to say he is doing wrong at all? You've been talking to Nancy Pelosi, ain't it?
That's a domestic affair of the United States.
Yep, sound like a Democrat.
The United States has to realize that people in Iraq are angry, and they take their anger. Of course, they're more angry about the United States than anybody else.
He's actually right about that. A lot of people are still mad that Trump won over Hillary. A lot of people are still mad in the Senate trying to impeach him. A lot of people still ain't turned over those papers yet. Nancy Pelosi.
Well, they're either based on misinformation or they're lying.
This is the reason why we got people over there watching y'all ass. Y'all always talking about somebody lying. Y'all ass be lying. Probably over there trying to sneak and build a bomb or some shit.
Their days in our region are numbered.
USA wants no more threats.
Yes, we don't want any threats. I don't want no problem.
That they should leave. How do they feel about that? That's the price for arrogance, for ignorance, for lack of respect.
For arrogant, disrespectful. Yeah. You should leave. Okay.
Not because anybody will take any action against them, but because they are not welcomed in our region.
That's like saying, we don't want you to get out of our hood because you ain't welcome. It's just because we don't like you.